guys, I want to give you a little word today that the Lord has put in my heart recently. We're coming into a planting season, but before we plant our plants, there has to be a preparation of the territory. The ground has to be ready to receive. Now for me, because I understand the times and the seasons, now I want you to grab hold of what I'm saying today, because I'm going to be speaking a little bit in similitude and in a parable here, because the Lord speaks through the grandeur of his creation. But because I know the times and the seasons, I start preparing for the planting season in advance of it, because if I wait for it, then it's going to put me behind. So when it's still cold out and when it's still too harsh for those things to be outside, I start planting inside in cups. And when I have those plants inside, you know, there are other plants outside producing fruit and having a purpose and doing a work, because different things are right for different seasons. But what I am preparing for the big harvest, I'm starting inside. And there's almost, you know, maybe some people right now might be feeling a sense of rejection, because maybe you see others doing things that you feel like the Lord could be using you to do. But I would say to you, remember, those plants that were inside were not rejected. They were kept for a purpose, for a time, and for a season. Now, the reason that I keep them inside is because I know that there is more storms coming. There are winter storms coming that they would not survive if I put them outside. And there's also a time of preparation, because if I put them directly into the ground after a hard winter, there's so many weeds and things that it would come up and choke them out. They wouldn't be able to get a good start. They wouldn't be able to come into their fruitfulness. They would not be able to produce a good harvest. Jesus talks about this, the seeds that were planted and then the weeds came up. You know, the deceitfulness of riches, the cares of this life, you know, those things that tend to stop true revivals and moves and works of God. The envy, the, you know, everybody coming in and trying to take control of things. There is a love for money. There is a love for attention. These things have to first be dealt with. So how do I deal with these weeds in my garden? I come with fire. I come with a torch and I burn them out, so that when I plant my seeds, my plants, there is time for them to grow and get established and not get choked out and start producing fruit, and they can then overshadow and keep the weeds from coming up among them. So I would tell you that in this season, we have been in a season of preparation. You're beginning to see a few little moves of God. What you're actually seeing is not the revival that's been prophesied, though it is kind of part of it. It's actually a call to prayerfulness in preparation for the changes that are coming, because the burning is coming. The land is about to be prepared to receive those plants that the Lord has been tending to. The husbandman, the one who knows the times and the seasons, he's been tending to these tender plants in advance, preparing them to be planted and put into their positions of purpose in the coming season. But not only has he been preparing them for their purpose, but also he is preparing the land to receive them, so that they can have a true harvest and an ultimate fruitfulness without being choked out or destroyed before they get to that proper time and season and place and purpose. So if you have felt rejected, maybe you've actually been protected. Maybe you've been kept, because what he's going to do next is the thing that he's going to plant you in. But wait for it and keep preparing, and understand that when things get crazy, when the fires come, maybe it's his way of dealing with the weeds and the things that would have choked the revival out in the first place. The Bible says the deceitfulness of riches, the cares of this life, right? The lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life. Maybe it's those who are only in it for the money, so he has to deal with the economic system so that those who are in it for greed will be removed from it or won't have a desire to infiltrate it. Maybe it's those that are only in it for vainglory, and so he has to allow some hard times or some persecution so that only those who have a true heart for him, God will purify his bride. He will have his revival. He will have what he wants in these last days. He will speak truth, and he will do it with demonstration, power, and might, but he will do it through a purified church. And so the purification comes first by fire, then the planting, then the fruitfulness, then the harvest.